Okay, you know the feeling. You sit down, you're ready to work, you tell yourself, all right, this time I'm actually gonna focus. You open up your laptop, you stare at that blinking cursor, and then what happens? Within like 2 minutes, your mind is just gone. You're thinking about that weird thing someone said last week, you're wondering what's for dinner, and oh, look at that, you've already checked your phone 3 times without even realizing it. An hour just vaporizes, and you've done nothing. It's so frustrating, right?
And that's when that little voice starts to creep in. That feeling of being stuck, maybe even feeling a little broken. And you start to ask yourself that quiet, nagging question. Is there something wrong with me?
I want you to hear this loud and clear. There is nothing wrong with you. Your brain is not broken. You are not lazy. And you are definitely not the only one going through this.
See, here's the thing. The problem isn't some personal failure on your part. The problem is that the world we're living in right now is basically designed to shatter our focus. We were never really taught how our own attention works. And that, right there, is the good news. Focus isn't some fixed thing you either have or you don't. It's a skill. And, like any other skill, once you get how it works, you can train it. You can rebuild it. You can get it back. So, if we're going to get it back, we first have to figure out what we're actually fighting against. It's time to pull back the curtain and look at the real enemies of our focus, all those hidden reasons our attention just seems to vanish into thin air. And it really boils down to 5 big culprits that are working against us all the time. There's mental noise, dopamine overload, the whole myth of multitasking, this underlying fear, and just plain old exhaustion. So let's break these down one by one. Okay, first up, mental noise. You know that nonstop chatterbox in your head? The to-do lists, the worries, the things you need to remember to do later? That's not just random. Your brain is actually trying to help. It keeps bringing this stuff up because it's unfinished business. But all that mental juggling is absolutely exhausting, and it dreams your focus before you even get started. Next, we've got dopamine overload. Think about it. Every single time you get a notification, a like, a new email, your brain gets a tiny little hit of a feel-good chemical called dopamine. Our phones have literally trained our brains to expect these super fast, easy rewards all day long. So when you try to do slow, hard, deep work, your brain just gets bored and it yanks you right back to the easy stuff, the quick fix. And then there's the big one, multitasking. We all think it makes us so efficient, but here's the reality. Your brain can't actually do 2 things at the same time. What it's really doing is switching its attention back and forth and back and forth. And every single one of those switches costs you mental energy. It forces your brain to reload and refocus, which is just incredibly draining. This really just blows the whole myth wide open, doesn't it? We feel like we're being so productive when we're multitasking. But the reality is, we're just keeping ourselves busy and distracted. We're not actually doing more. We're just switching more. We're burning through all our mental fuel without really getting anywhere. Our fourth foe is a sneaky one, fear. Have you ever stared at a blank page and suddenly had the most powerful urge to go clean your entire kitchen? Yeah, that's probably not about the kitchen. That's a fear response. The fear of not being good enough, the fear of failing. It makes your brain desperately look for a distraction as a way to protect you. And last but definitely not least is just plain, profound exhaustion. And I'm not just talking about being a little sleepy. This is a deep mental fatigue that comes from constant thinking, constant worrying, constant stress. When your brain is totally running on empty, it flips into survival mode. And you know what? In survival mode, focus is a luxury it just can't afford. So that's what we're up against. It's a lot, I know. Mental noise, dopamine overload, multitasking fear, and exhaustion. But hey, knowing the problem is half the battle, right? So now let's talk about the solution. There are 5 simple shifts you can start making to rebuild that focus skill. Here's our path forward. And look, this is not about becoming some kind of productivity robot overnight. Not at all. It's about making small, smart changes. We're going to clear the noise, we're going to create some friction with our distractions, we're going to practice single tasking, start messy, and learn how to rest for real. The first shift is so simple. Get everything out of your head. The next time a worry or to-do list item keeps popping up, just write it down. Get it on paper or in a notes app. Once your brain knows that idea is captured somewhere safe, it can finally let it go. And that frees up all this precious mental space that you need for actual focus. To deal with that dopamine overload, we need to create friction. You don't have to delete all your social media apps. Just make your biggest distraction, for most of us that's our phone, a little bit harder to get to.
When you need to focus, just put it in another room. Seriously, that tiny physical barrier is often all it takes to break that automatic, unconscious habit of reaching for it. Now, to fight that multitasking habit, we have to start small. Just pick one single task. That's it. And commit to doing only that one thing for 20 minutes. No checking email, no switching tabs. This isn't about finishing the project, it's about practicing the skill of paying attention. You're literally building your focus muscle one rep at a time. And to get over that fear that leads to procrastination, you have to start before you feel ready. Forget about making it perfect. Just start. The simple act of starting, even if what you're doing is messy or just plain bad, creates momentum. And here's the secret. It's the momentum that creates focus, not the other way around. We usually have that completely backwards. And maybe, most important of all, you have to rest for real. And listen, scrolling on the couch is not rest. That's just more consumption. I mean, true restorative rest. A quiet walk without your phone. Just sitting in silence for 5 minutes. Time completely away from screens. This is how you actually refill your mental energy tank, which is the fuel for every bit of focus you have. So, the big takeaway here is this. Getting your focus back is not about brute force. It's not about white-knuckling it and just trying harder to ignore distractions. It's actually a much kinder and, frankly, much smarter process. And that quote really says it all, doesn't it? Focus isn't about discipline. It's about creating the right conditions. It's not about being tougher on yourself. It's about being smarter with your environment and gentler with your own mind, creating a space where focus can just happen. So remember, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're just trying to navigate a world that makes focus incredibly hard. So start small. You don't need to fix everything at once. Just ask yourself this. What is one small shift, just one little thing that you can make today to start creating those better conditions for yourself?